Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into a topic that has fascinated and baffled humanity for decades. UFO evidence they don't want you to see. For years, official sources have dismissed sightings as weather balloons, swamp gas, or mass hysteria. But what if there's more to the story? What if there's a mountain of evidence that has been deliberately hidden from public view? Let's peel back the layers of secrecy and look at what's really going on in our skies. First, let's talk about the infamous Tic Tac UFO incident. In 2004, pilots from the USS Nimitz carrier strike group encountered an object that defied all known laws of physics. This wasn't a blurry, distant light. It was a clear, daytime encounter witnessed by multiple highly trained naval aviators. Commander David Fravor, one of the pilots, described it as a white, smooth, oblong object with no wings or visible propulsion. It moved erratically, dropping from 80,000 feet to just above the water in seconds, then accelerating away at speeds that would be impossible for any conventional aircraft. The official footage was eventually declassified, but many believe it's just the tip of the iceberg. What did the other sensors on the naval ships pick up? Why was the full data set never released to the public? These are the questions that keep investigators up at night. The government's initial reluctance to even acknowledge the event speaks volumes. Then we have the Phoenix Lights. On March 13, 1997, thousands of people across Arizona, including the state governor at the time, Fife Symington, witnessed a massive V-shaped craft gliding silently over the city of Phoenix. The object was estimated to be over a mile wide. The official explanation from the Air Force was that the lights were simply flares dropped during a military training exercise. However, this explanation doesn't hold up. Witnesses described a solid, structured craft that blocked out the stars behind it, not a series of individual flares drifting down. Governor Symington himself, a former Air Force pilot, later admitted he saw a craft of unknown origin and mocked the flare explanation. He said, "I'm a pilot and I know just about every machine that flies. It was bigger than anything that I've ever seen. It remains a great mystery." The discrepancy between thousands of eyewitness accounts and the official story suggests a deliberate attempt to downplay a truly extraordinary event. Let's move on to physical evidence. The Roswell incident of 1947 is the cornerstone of modern UFO lore. The official story has changed multiple times. First, the military announced they had recovered a flying disc. A day later, they retracted the statement, claiming it was just a weather balloon. Decades later, they changed the story again, saying it was a secret high-altitude surveillance balloon from Project Mogul. But what about the eyewitness accounts from first responders and military personnel at the scene? Many described seeing strange, lightweight, yet incredibly strong metallic debris, some with bizarre hieroglyphic-like markings. Major Jesse Marcel, the intelligence officer who initially handled the debris, maintained until his death that what he saw was not of this world. Were all these military officers, people sworn to protect their country, lying or mistaken? Or was a major cover-up put into motion to hide the true nature of the crash? The shifting narrative from the authorities only fuels the suspicion that something extraordinary was recovered from that desert ranch. Beyond specific incidents, we have a pattern of suppression and ridicule aimed at witnesses and researchers. For decades, military pilots who reported UFOs were often told to keep quiet, grounded, or sent for psychological evaluations. This created a culture of silence where reporting a genuine unknown aerial phenomenon could be a career-ending move. It wasn't until recent years with the Pentagon's UAP task force that the stigma began to lift slightly. But why was there such a concerted effort to silence the very people in the best position to observe these objects? The logical conclusion is that the authorities knew these phenomena were real but didn't want the public to know. Perhaps for reasons of national security, to prevent mass panic, or maybe because they couldn't control the technology and didn't want to admit it. Consider the countless documents obtained through the Freedom of Information Act. While often heavily redacted, they reveal a long-standing, serious interest in UFOs by intelligence agencies around the world, including the CIA and FBI. Project Blue Book, the US Air Force's official study, publicly concluded that there was no evidence of extraterrestrial vehicles. However, its own chief scientific consultant, Dr. J. Allen Hynek, later became a vocal critic, stating that the project was a public relations front and that a significant percentage of cases remained unexplained. He famously said, "I have begun to feel that there is a tendency in 20th century science to forget that there will be a 21st century science and indeed a 30th century science, from which vantage points our knowledge of the universe may appear quite different." These official yet hidden documents paint a picture of a government publicly dismissing the topic while privately investigating it with the utmost seriousness. We also have testimony from high-ranking officials. People like Paul Hellyer, former Canadian Minister of National Defense, who stated unequivocally that UFOs are as real as the airplanes flying overhead. Or Chaim Eshed, the former head of Israel's space security program, who claimed that not only do aliens exist, but that there's a galactic federation in contact with governments on Earth. While these claims are extraordinary, it's difficult to simply dismiss them when they come from individuals who have held such high-level positions of trust and authority. They claim the secrecy is part of an agreement to prevent hysteria until humanity is ready. Is it possible that the biggest story in human history is being kept under wraps by a handful of powerful individuals? Then there's the evidence from ancient history. Cave paintings, ancient texts, and artifacts from all over the world depict strange beings and objects in the sky that bear a striking resemblance to modern descriptions of UFOs and aliens. The Wandjina paintings of the Aboriginal people in Australia, the Sumerian depictions of the Anunnaki, the Vimanas described in ancient Indian texts like the Mahabharata. Skeptics argue these are just misinterpretations of natural phenomena or symbolic art. But the consistency of these depictions across disconnected cultures is staggering. Could our ancestors have been documenting encounters with visitors from another world? Evidence that has been staring us in the face for thousands of years, recontextualized as myth and legend. The sheer volume of evidence, when viewed together, is overwhelming. We have credible military eyewitnesses, radar data, declassified videos, testimony from high-ranking officials, physical evidence from crash sites, and historical records. The official strategy has always been to isolate each piece of evidence and dismiss it individually. A weather balloon here, a flare there, a misidentification somewhere else. But when you connect the dots, a clear pattern of strange phenomena and official secrecy emerges. They don't want you to see the big picture. They don't want you to connect the Nimitz incident with Roswell or the Phoenix Lights with the thousands of other unexplained sightings, because when you do, the weather balloon explanation starts to look pretty flimsy. So, what are we to make of all this? The evidence strongly suggests that we are not alone, and that certain powers that be have gone to great lengths to keep this reality a secret. The motive remains the ultimate question. Is it to prevent a collapse of our social, religious, and economic systems? Is it because they can't control the technology and fear the implications? Or is it something else entirely? The truth is out there, but it seems we have to fight through layers of disinformation and secrecy to find it. The age of ridicule is over. It's time to demand transparency and look at the evidence with open eyes. The story isn't just about little green men. It's about our place in the universe and our right to know the truth. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. What do you think is the most compelling piece of UFO evidence? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video and want to explore more mysteries with me, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, keep looking up.